Negative exponents do change some things, and we'll talk about how they do here in a little bit. Nice thing about this section is, like I said, the only thing really, really new is the negatives. So we'll pick those up pretty quick, I think. Maybe. There we go. Refresher slide. Remember, anything to the 0 power equals uno. 1. Yeah, 1. So here's a good example. Look at all this junk. A, B, C to the 4th, 8 to the 23rd, Y to the 3rd, X to the 54th, Y to the 3rd, Z to the 10th. All in parentheses with a 0 on the outside equals 1. Because that 0 would go and distribute itself to everything, right? So A to the 0 equals 1, B to the 0 equals 1, C to the 4 times 0, what's 4 times 0? C to the 0 equals 1, so all of it equals 1. Isn't that great? I can almost guarantee I'm going to give you a test question like that. Or this big, long, nasty thing, you're thinking to yourself as you're reading through it, oh my God, I can't believe he's going to do that to me. And then at the end it'll have that big 0 and you'll be like, yes. I hope. If you recognize it. Okay. Negative exponents. The new stuff. Negative exponents. There's a typo here. You don't need of the fraction of the fraction. Print out the notes. Cross that out. Take negative exponents to the bottom or the top of the fraction, depending on where they started. If there isn't a fraction, make a fraction. If there isn't one, make one. So look at the rule, for instance. Here's the rule. If you got a to a negative power, you must take it to the bottom and make it, what happened to the exponent? It didn't die. It became positive, right? We don't have negative exponents in answers, ever. From here on, never have a negative exponent in the answer. Negative exponent in the answer gets you one of these. Do not have a negative exponent in an answer. So here's a numerical example that goes with that, and then we'll do some more practice. But 3 to the negative 4th, see how it's got the negative exponent? That's like a flashing neon sign saying, take me somewhere else. I can't stay here. So he goes down here with a positive 4 exponent. Another way people look at it is flip it over. See how this is like 3 to the negative 4 over 1? That makes sense? You flip it over, reciprocate it. Some of you have heard that term before, I hope, with some slope stuff from Algebra A. Let's look at some examples. We learn best from examples, so let's try some. Negative 7 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is 1. How about negative 4 in parentheses to the negative 3rd power? Good. 1 over negative 4 to the 3rd. Did I say anything about getting rid of negative numbers? What did I say? Negative powers, negative exponents. Either way you want to say it, powers or exponents. They're interchangeable. Get rid of negative powers. Negative numbers don't change, guys. Now, one thing is kind of a formality. I won't count off of this, but negatives usually float to the top, right? So it would actually be negative 1 over 4 to the 3rd power is really what you should probably put. And actually, we could probably simplify that more. 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 again is 64. So without too much thought, we can get negative 1/64 for that answer. This answer would be fine. How about this one? Okay. 1 over negative 3 to the positive 2. But remember, the negative floats to the top, so that's negative 1 over 3 to the 2nd, which is negative 1 over 9. Oh, wait. Let's go back and think for a second. Oh, no, we're fine. Okay. Because, was this squared when we brought it down here? Sorry, when we brought it here, I looked at it wrong. I thought there was parentheses around that, which made me think of something. But well, this squared, does it go to that negative? Do we distribute it here? No. So the negative isn't squared. Now, if it's in this case, and it would be like this, then it's squared. Meaning, what's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. So you got to watch that. You got to watch that. Make sure that, you know how we changed those powers, or the changed the signs before, right? That was always if it was in parentheses or had a even exponent. You'll probably see one here coming up. How about 4 to the negative third? How about that? 1 over 4 to the third power. Well, we simplified that earlier. What's that going to be? 1 over 64 is the answer there. And then this last one down here at the bottom. Good. It equals 1. Because all that stuff is inside the parentheses, and therefore that equals 1. Good job. Let's try some with variables now. We didn't. All those had numbers. Let's throw some variables in here. Still didn't make it much harder. 1 over x to the second power. Pretty basic one. Nice thing about variables is, if that were, let's say, 3 to the second power, you'd have to go one more step, right? Is it going to be an exact problem? No?
No, not the exact problem. I mean, like, you just switch it. Let's put it over 1.
Yeah. So what are we going to do with this one, Christian? He thinks he's got it. He thinks he's ready to go.
1 over 4yx to the third.
Yep. Gotcha.
It would be 4y over x to the third.
Good. The only thing that has a negative exponent on it here is that. You got to be careful. The only thing that's got the x. The x is the only thing with the negative exponent. The 4y don't have negative exponents, do they? So we don't move them.
4y times
4y over x to the positive third. The only one we move to the bottom.
You're not dividing.
What's that?
You're multiplying y and x. You're not dividing.
Right. Okay, so you wanted to write it as 4y times 1 over x to the third?
Yeah.
Isn't that the same thing, only more simplified?
That's dividing.
Yeah, but this is the same thing. This is, you're just saying a fraction times a fraction, which we simplify. Don't even answer this way. Write it this way. So why not write it that way to start with and not have to do that extra word? Okay. How about the next one? Now that I've shown you the trick, you should get this. 4 over x to the positive third. We don't move the 4. It does not have a negative exponent on it. And then the last one down here. New trick. Whoa, 1 over 1, what?
1 over.
Uh-huh.
1 over x. Well, you can make it.
You're making it complicated. Much easier.
Switch it. Just switch it. It doesn't make it.
What do you mean switch it?
Multiply by.
Yeah. In other words, move this to the top, right?
Yeah.
To get rid of the negative exponent, you got to move it. Whether it's on bottom or top, doesn't matter. You got to move it to the top. So it's w to the positive 4 over 1, but there's no need for that 1. It's just w to the 4. Done. Answer. Okay? Don't make it complicated. How about these? Now we're getting to mixing some things together here. What do you mean that one's 1? The whole answer? Oh, good. Are the zeros